We are loving gold for fall, so I want to show you how to make this fun gold background on this beautiful little frame. You use an Embossed pen and some embossing powder and you can make this beautiful shimmery background. So let me show you how fun it is to make.
To get started, you'll lay the stencil out in the area of the board that you want to begin with. You can apply some washi tape to hold the stencil down, or you can just use your hands to hold it down. And then you're going to take your Embossed pen and you're just going to start coloring in the stencil. You can choose to do it a little section at a time, or you can do the whole stenciled area. Once you've got it all colored in, then you will take your embossing powder, sprinkle it over the top, and it should stick to where you had colored. When you're doing this, you just need to do it in a timely manner where the Embossed ink doesn't dry before you put the powder on it. Once the embossing powder has stuck to the areas that you've colored, you can shake it off of the board, or you can shake it to the side of a board that you haven't colored yet, and then you'll continue doing this process of coloring and adding embossing powder. Once you've got a section done and you're ready to make it shiny, you can take your heat gun, let it warm up a little bit, and then you'll gently run it over the embossing powder, and it will turn from a dull color to a nice shiny finish. As long as you have the embossing powder on top of the embossed ink, you can either choose to wait till the very end to do all of the heating, or if you're like me and like to see the progress you make, you can do it in sections. Once you've embossed a section of the board, give it a couple seconds to dry, and then you can run a paper towel over it, clear off some of that embossing powder you have on there, and then start over again. So you can place your stencil down in the same section, color in more, and then you'll continue doing this until you have the entire surface of the board covered in this fun gold embossed look. Our next step is to attach a photo to a 6.5-inch circle. So I printed out a photo that was 8 by 10 with an area that I knew would fit onto my circle. I put the circle on top of the area of the photo that I wanted to cut out. I traced the circle with a pencil, and then as I cut it out, I left about a 1/4 inch extra so that I knew my photo could be centered nicely. Before I attached the photo to the circle, I took a gold marker and I painted around the edges of the wood piece. Then to attach the photo, I took a glue runner, I put it on the surface of the wood, and then I put my photo on top. To get rid of that extra little bit of paper around the edges, I took my sanding block and I sanded at an angle to make sure that the paper fit perfectly around my circle. And then I just kept sanding until eventually the paper on the sides fell off. Then I went back in with my gold marker, I redefined the lines on the edges, and I did a little bit along the front of the photo as well. And then to finish the project, I attached the wood circle with my photo on it to the frame by using 1/2-inch foam squares. They are a little bit 3D, so that my picture would stand out a little bit from the backing. I peeled off the backside of the 3D foam squares, flipped it over, and stuck it to the center of my frame.
You can find all the supplies I used to make this project and a lot of other fun project ideas at craftstruck.com and go over to the projects page.